This is going to be completely freestyle, this show. No script. But we're going to name names. It's time that we just put the very people that want to be in the limelight that they want. And why? The people who have so freely pointed their finger to so many other people on YouTube. But yet, what are they doing? What have they done to shame themselves while they're pointing that finger to other people to shame them? Let's talk about them. Why don't we? As far as I'm concerned, I completely vindicated myself. For all the years that I've been on YouTube, I've been called every name in a book and every allegation proven untrue. But the facts are facts about who are the real criminals in our community, who are the real shameful people that should be shamed. Finally, you know who they all are. The ones their shit doesn't stink. Spend whole shows talking about people like myself and others where they themselves don't have the best reputation in the world. So why don't we discuss this right here and right now? And we will. Now I'm doing this completely freestyle here. I have no script, nothing. I'm just going to share my thoughts this morning. That's what I do my best thinking. And forgive me when there's a delay in my speech because I'm gathering my thoughts. As I said, I'm doing this completely freestyle and ad-libbing everything on here. Try to get my thoughts out and try to get them out accurately. Okay, My Philippines Interest. That's me. Started out my channel as that name. I'm still My Philippines Interest. However, I've been copied, of course. There's never going to be a real My Philippines Interest other than the person you're hearing right now. May I go into different names or otherwise. I take pride in the amount of time that I've actually been on YouTube. Well, pride in the fact that there's not been one person on here, one evil bastard, one hypocrite, one criminal that has ever been able to knock me off YouTube for my free speech. Speaking of free speech, I've always maintained free speech on my show. And some of the things I talked about, people didn't like because maybe it hit them very personally. But why did it hit them very personally? Why did it hit them very personally? Because those are the very people have been the biggest scumbags and losers and shameful people on YouTube that had the audacity, the gall, the balls to sit there on their velvet throne and point fingers, make up stories, try to blacken the reputation of myself and others on here. But those that were pointing that finger are the very people that are the actual culprits on YouTube. Let's go down memory lane here. Okay. We got Big E, the man who throws his wallet around. Big man in girth and height, but not in brains, not in healthy emotions. Someone who is not only large in size and girth, but large on his ego. Let's start with him. This is a man who should be in the hall of shame because this is a man who marries a woman, but yet he's in a relationship with yet his old girlfriend. This is a man who comes on camera, and he's grabbing his wife's breasts and allowing his wife to make out with his ex-girlfriend in front of his wife on camera. We're definitely entering him on the hall of shame. Who is he to make judgment on me? Who is he to make judgment on anybody on here? When you may joke around about the harem thing, right? That's exactly what he tries to do. As much as he thinks that he's a successful man because he has a career that allows him to travel, which is great, okay? And he's able to put some bucks together. Now, we don't believe he's broke. You say that about other people. We don't believe he's broke. But unfortunately, he uses his wallet as an extension of his dick. Is what he does. That's what he does. He's not a nice man. He's the man that also was enabling a very known criminal that sits in a jail cell because of yours truly. That gives him money at the same time he's preaching God's words. And I'm going to help you out if you're in jail. So in other words, Big E, if somebody killed one of your children and they're sitting in jail, you're going to start quoting Bible scriptures, are you? You're going to enable a criminal that maybe have hurt one of your children and start reading Bible scriptures? You're fucked up. You know that? You are a fucked up man. You can't make judgment on anybody. The best judgment you could make is going to be on yourself. Shame, shame, hall of shame, Big E. If you're that religious and you think you're so rightful and you got values and morals, then what man who respects his wife is going to put her on camera, grabbing her tits? That's not respect to me. And the icing on the cake is when he allows his wife, mother of his children, and while the children maybe are in the room, his wife is putting her tongue in another woman's mouth. Hall of shame. Definite hall of shame. And enabling a criminal, Barry Lee Jordan, by giving him money. Makes me sick. Makes me sick. In other words, these people cannot afford to talk about anybody else on here. I'm letting it all hang out this week. That's what I'm doing here. I'm letting it all hang out, how I feel, and proving that the very people with the pink finger pointing out there are the biggest criminals in this community. Biggest criminals in the community. We got Big Kevin, the ringmaster, the antagonist, who puts on a show for selfish purposes to get all the trolls to come to his show so everybody can attack each other and talk about everybody else. The innocent guy that doesn't talk about Gilda comes on with this fake horse, make horse sounds, made many, many references. The only thing I could say to Big Kevin, thank goodness we don't live close together. I don't care how big you are. You're in no shape to get into a fight with anyone. I would take the baseball bat to your fucking knees that are already damaged because your brain is already damaged, Kevin, the innocent one who sits there and begs just as much as Fazio. I want to see a little jingle. This is the man who says he's sending money to his kids. This is the man who says that he was going to visit his kids while they were in the Philippines. This is the man who says that he didn't do anything wrong, that he had a bolo knife in his head because he didn't do anything wrong. A man does not get a bolo knife in his fucking skull unless he did very wrong. What really happened with that? Said it was his brother-in-law. What did he do? I mean, what did he really do to get that bolo knife in his head? What did he really do? What did he do? I'll never elaborate on that. That ain't gonna happen. But he sits there, over 250 pounds overweight, can't even make it to the lake next to the aunt's house. His whole existence is in his basement, who can barely walk 10 paces without heavily breathing, who sits there, makes fun of everybody on his show, and makes money doing it. And the stupid people that actually give him that money. He's never was going to use the money for a trip to the Philippines. All of a sudden that changed. He might want to go to Cambodia or something. What about visiting his kids in, Australia now? Has he thought about visiting his children in Australia? He says that the money he makes on his show, and this is his ruse, by donating to him, you're helping him donate to his children. Another liar in the hall of shame who will die a shameful man. I could go on and on about this guy. Of course, you know about Richard Jarrett, big time Richard Jarrett. We've exposed him to be the creep that he is, the liar that he is, the woman abuser that he is, the maniacal psycho that he is, someone that you couldn't trust ever with your life, someone that you couldn't trust even in a conversation to get something clear and straight and truthful out of his mouth, because he's always lies. He's always manipulating people to get money to line his pocket to pay for those 5-star hotels and meals and drinks. But alas, life is catching up with him too. His high blood pressure is taking the best of him. His doctor's visits, many health problems, ankles swelling up, sign of diabetes, sign of edema. The heroes of YouTube? Hardly. The antagonists, the troublemakers, that's who they are. This guy takes the cake. Besides having a pig nose and being obese and being a liar and an abuser of innocent Filipino women who has publicly shamed them on many of his shows while they were sitting right next to him. A man also that likes to point the finger on everybody else and says that they're all hateful, but not him. He's not hateful, but the only shows he produces talking about every vlogger that could be on there that has taken opposition with him. Can't handle the heat, get out of the fire. I could go on for 3 hours with this guy, go on for a long time with this guy. I'm not going to go through a complete list. There's just too many people on here to talk about. Of course, the newest one is Jasper, and also we're going to even include Uncle Jesse in this too, because there's something wrong with that picture. There's something radically wrong. Claims she's 24, but how is that even possible? And truthfully, even if she was, you wouldn't get away with that in America. You walk around with a girl that looks like she's 13 years old, acts like she's 13 years old, sounds like she's 13 years old. To me, you're a pervert. You're a pervert. And Uncle Jesse has had jail time in America too. They all come to YouTube, to this community. And Ricky had an answer to that. That Frank is saying that all the hateful people, how did they come here? As if he's like not exactly one of the biggest hateful people on here. Projecting again. He loves to project. So he doesn't do wrong. Ricky doesn't do wrong. He would never do that, would he? How about hitting a senior citizen? How about hitting a senior citizen from behind like a coward? How about hitting a senior citizen, stalking him, knowing what he was going to do, premeditating it all, staying at the hotel next door, watching his every move, then comes out like a coward and strikes a senior in the back of the head, like the coward that he is, like the coward. But then we come back to our favorite, Mr. Barry Lee Jordan, who many of you are very much aware of the crimes he has committed, very much aware of his demeanor, his cockiness, his abuse of women and other people, taking money off people and never paying them back, making promises he can't keep, getting motorcycles, Xboxes, even teeth from people. The man who has manipulated almost everyone on here. The man that got you to donate to his criminal causes, and you idiots bought into it. A man that has never kept his word that the money that anybody was going to donate to him was going to go to the intended purposes that it never has. This is a man that we have proven that he thinks he's above the law. But again, where is he now? And where are all these people going? They're going to hell, that's where they're going. Where they belong, from which they came, from which they shall return, every one of them. One of the sickest people would be Ricky Drama. But competition he has, and that would be Barry Lee Jordan. The one that he was helping to support, to say, let's free Barry. Let's get him out of jail. He hated Barry, but he figured he could make a few bucks because he knows that Fazio's going to be taking him to the cleaners. So let me go rent a $240 a month apartment. Oh, it's an experiment to see how much I could save. But what he's really doing is getting in preparation for the inevitable decision that's going to be made on him, that he did cause damage to Michael J. Fazio, or Michael Thomas Fazio, that he was a coward. And although he spent 4 days in jail, let there be a lesson learned. But there's going to be more lessons learned for Richard Jarrett, because the community is tired of him. The community is tired of his lies, his deceit, taking money from all you people for a so-called cause to help free Barry J. And why would you want to free such a criminal in the first place unless you are a criminal with selfish intent, self-gain, profit? These are the people of YouTube here. As it turns out that one of the biggest criminals on here is indeed what I thought all along was Barry Lee Jordan. Barry is one of the sickest people other than Richard. Barry is one of the sickest mofos that's ever been in our community, who's done every horrible thing you could think of to people in humanity, to women especially. A man who I've always known and thought did cavort with children, underage women. That's what he did. No wonder there's an ex-wife in his life that he happened to beat up, by the way. When you come from an inbred family, what do you expect? When you come from a family where the father was practicing scenes in deliverance with his own child. Apple doesn't fall far from the tree sometimes, does it? The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. It doesn't fall far from the tree, does it? Apparently so. And what happened in Ricky's past that was so dark and ugly, that made him to be the man he is today, or the lesser of the man that he is today? He's not a well man. His expressions, they're real. His mania is real. These are the sick people that have the gall to come on here and point fingers again, fingers that need to be broken. Calling out people, doing shows to call out people. Well, they themselves are the biggest scumbags and cowards that have ever been on YouTube, who've been proven wrong time after time after time again, have committed crimes time after time after time again. These are cowards that threaten people, that try to find fault with people when their fault is as large as the San Andreas fault. Those without sin, please cast the first stone. This is a Hall of Shame show here. And we don't expose people on here unless they really need to be. That's the difference between me and other people on here. We got sick fucks like Brevis. Sick fuck like Brevis. No respect at all for any woman. Impregnates 2 women. One that he's with. About to have a baby in less than 3 weeks. And all he's thinking about is getting permission to go to the bars. Honey, gonna have 3 days a week I could get drunk and make a fool out of myself and chase other women. Okay, dear. What the fuck? What the fuck? Talk about psychology of these people. It's scary. Psychology with these people is scary. He stalks people. I was one of his victims. He stalks people. I don't know, folks. In the annals of time, we don't know what happened to these people. We don't know what happened in their childhood growing up, but we could definitely probably say it wasn't a very good upbringing by their parents or their peers. They were attacked. They were humiliated. They were beat up as a child, and that's why they're so mean and ornery and disgusting, and they're so much of a criminal today in contemporary times. And they come to YouTube, of all places. The gathering place of all criminals on here is YouTube, to hide behind their screen, to hide behind their keyboards, and throw out many words of hate. Doing shows about people as if their shit doesn't stink. But the psychology of such is scary. Yes, it is, folks. It's very scary. You can't trust these people. You don't know what they're going to do. From one moment to the other, they don't see they're wrong. They don't see they're wrong. And their sick mind, they think they're right. And they think that they're justified, that they have justification to come on here and put a show on unjustifiably about somebody that they just happen not to like, because maybe that person released the truth about them. Maybe that person has exposed them for the fucking psychological criminals that they are, for the misfit that they are. This show is to make my viewers think. That's what it's for, to make my viewers think and understand the dynamics of what's going on YouTube right now. And it's not getting any better. I want to thank 43 people for showing up on my show this morning. And the whole purpose of this show is to make you think. and put people in the hall of shame where they should be. Now, I did not give a complete list for people that should be in the hall of shame. It's not a complete list, and I think you know who the rest of the people are. These are people that should be locked up in a straitjacket, and it should be a recording in their room of them listening to themselves on their own YouTube show, and all the hateful, shameful things that they said, the finger pointing, play the scenes of what they actually have displayed on their YouTube channels, and make them see it over and over and over and over again. That would be their hell. That would be their punishment. And I will guarantee you, everyone on here, that if there is a hell, these people got an RSVP to hell. As far as I'm concerned, people, I have vindicated myself time and time again. For 7.5 fucking years. They tried, but they failed. They will continue to fail. But the very people that talk such ugliness about others on here are the real criminals, are the ones that are psychological misfits in their life, in their relationships, friendships, or lack of. This, my friends, is the psychology I'm presenting to you that has become part of your daily listing on YouTube. All these shameful people that are now in the hall of shame, that cannot afford to talk about anybody else, that lie, and lie some more, and express and show actually the greed and what their shows are really all about. They need attention any way they can get it. Even negative attention is still considered attention. But these are the creeps and criminals that should be exposed. And if you're going to do a show about anybody, expose the real criminals. That's right, I said the real criminals of YouTube. And these people are the real criminals of YouTube.